Alright, let's see who I'm going to cover today. Guess that's it. Alright, so this is Transformers Legacy United Voyager class Thundertron, and this is my most recent figure, and you know, I like it, but he turns into a line, and I don't like Beast Formals at all. So this is gonna be a very interesting review. Okay, so this figure is based off of concept art from Transformers Prime. Uh, so if you're wondering why you never seen him before, it's because he was supposed to be in the fourth season before the show got canceled. And this character specifically, as far as I know, has really only appeared in the book Exiles. So he's not a very well-known character, but he's the leader of the Star Raiders, which is a group of pirates. I do have every other figure except for Ferric and Filch, and I really don't want to get them. I might get Ferric. I don't think I'm going to get Filch, but I personally am really enjoying this guy in terms of his detailing. It's really cool. I do know they released another version of him, which most people regard as the better version, but I actually don't know if I've even seen that version, so I really don't know how much better it is and in what ways it's better. I think it's really only different in paint, so I don't think it's that much of a improvement. And speaking of detailing, I just want to go ahead and go over that. And I mean, like I said, kind of in the beginning, he's a beast formal. He turns into a lion, if you couldn't tell by the big lion head on his chest. So there is a little bit of like animalistic design here, but it's really only in like his chest. And as I said before, he's also a pirate, so he actually has a neat little feature where you can take off his foot, and he has peg leg, and he stands on it pretty well, as long as you can balance him, and like as long as he's on a flat surface, really, he's fine. But I normally display him with both his feet because his accessory, which is this sword, which is kind of like a cutlass of some kind because he's a pirate, is it when you take the foot off, when you take the foot off, you're supposed to just clip it onto the sword so that it covers like the front like that, and I don't like the way it looks. You can make it look better, at least in my opinion, by folding that bit, which is part of the transformation, and then attaching it. There we go. I think that looks a little better because it's not as heavy like up top, but I overall just don't like the way that looks, so I don't display him that way, and he's also just easier to stand if you display him with his foot on. Um, so yeah, but in terms of detailing, he's not anything too crazy. You can tell he is a Transformers Prime design by the way he's detailed, specifically his head sculpt. He's got a very Transformers Prime head sculpt, which, considering Prime is my favorite Transformers TV show, I am a really big fan of that type of design. I like these big, like, these claws he's got over his hands. I think that's really cool. And his hands do have a swivel, but it's very hard to get to with those claws. I think visually the only real issue I have is, one, this shade of blue is just a little dark, but in some lighting it looks really good. I think with my light that I'm using, it doesn't look the best, but I think in person it looks a little bit better. And I think that's really the main thing that they changed on the other version of this figure, is I think he has a lighter shade of blue. But again, I don't own that figure. I don't even think I've ever seen it, so I don't know what it looks like. But other than that, I also don't like these shoulder pads. Because of the way he transforms, they have a ton of stuff up in them. so they don't actually, they kind of just sit over the shoulder. They don't actually like cup the shoulder in any way, so it's not the greatest. All right, so getting into articulation, he's kind of limited, but also kind of not. So first of all, starting up on the head, he can look up, but his head, at least on my copy, I don't know if this is a thing on all of them, his head like goes back, so you can't really make him look up. He can't look down like at all. His head can move to the sides. It's also the only way to actually get him to look up, which is odd. Then arms, they do go. They technically would be able to go 360, but because of the shoulder pads, they can't. Also, go out that much. Again, they really can't go out that far because of the shoulder pads. Then, like over 90 degrees of elbow bend, but it's also a single joint. But yeah, and he does have a bicep rotation, but it's very stiff on mine, and it doesn't. It's specifically stiff going in, so I can't get him to do like anything like that. As I already mentioned, his hands can rotate, but it's very difficult to get them to rotate because of the like claws that cover his hands. He does not have a bicep rotation, or not bicep rotation, a waist swivel. These hip squats can move. They're on a ball joint that can move. That's mainly for transformation, but they can get out of the way for articulation, which out that far. Oh, and can't really go back that far due to this like coat that he's got. And then he has a rotation at the knee and rotation at the thigh. So he's got two rotations. Again, more for transformation than anything. Over 90 degrees at the knee. And I'll show it during transformation because it's full transformation, but his like leg or his calf splits in half and he can bend it forward. So you can give him chicken legs. Like that. It's weird. It's full transformation, but yeah. Now the feet, the 2 feet actually have different amounts of articulation. So this foot, which is the one that comes off for the peg leg, can go forward and back, but can't go side to side, and it can also rotate 360. This foot cannot rotate 360. It can go forward and back, actually even more, and it can go side to side. So there is less articulation in this foot because of the peg leg feature. But, I mean, other than that, he's a pretty standard figure in terms of his articulation. Although a little... Oh, and I guess I should show that his tail can move up and down. But yeah. Overall, not the greatest articulation, but also not the worst articulation. Alright, so let's get into this transformation right now. So where to start? I think it's best to start up on his chest. And you've got to pull all of that up and then pull the head of the lion out until you can see this piece of plastic right there. And I think that's unfolded all the way. You're going to just want to make sure that's unfolded all the way. And this doesn't stop, like its hinge doesn't have any stop. So you just kind of have to let it sit there. Then take the arms and flip them. So you're going to want to flip the bicep up like that, but then flip the forearm to the side. And we'll do that both sides. There we go. And then this butterfly joint, which you cannot access in robot mode because of the like the chest piece blocks the butterfly joint, but then you just want to make sure that the arms tab in properly, and then push the like chest piece back down, and then you want to try, you've got those two holes on the fist, you want to try to tab the, there we go, yep, yeah, you got to tab this piece into the hands, and then more or less that's like it for this front. Then going to the shoulders, you got to unfold the points and then just flip them, and then that goes down. Hands, that's really most of the transformation on these shoulders, is really just unfolding them and then flipping them. And then once you've got them fully transformed, you can figure out what like angle you want everything to be at. But then you can find on both arms there will these big pegs, or yeah, whatever. And you gotta tab in the there we go. Yeah, tab those in. That basically is just going to keep those still. And you can take this back piece, pull it up, and there is this rectangular bit tabs in there. Oh, whoops. Then you just gotta make sure that that tabs in. Okay, this isn't wanting to tab the hands. I think it's because that one hand is... Okay, I think it's because this one hand isn't rotated enough. That's fine. It looks fine enough. Then moving to the legs are pretty simple. You want to move the pieces of the coat out of the way you can. Then you want to rotate the thigh all the way around, and then rotate the calf back into place, and then bend at the knee. These legs don't have any actual peg like the arms do, so you kind of just put them forward, and then using the split at the halfway point on the calf, you just fold that forward, and you just want to make sure that all that it's bent exactly however you want it. And then, oh, he actually does have a waist swivel. But I guess in robot mode it's just completely blocked by all of the trench coat detailing on him. So that's why I never knew about that until now. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, these legs are really annoying to deal with, but then it's basically, that's it. You've got to deal with these pieces of the trench coat however you want, but then you can just set them like that. Okay, so because of the way he transforms, in terms of detailing on alt mode, it's really all just detailing in robot mode, so it's all stuff that I already showed for the most part, because back legs are really just the legs, that's just the chest, these are just the shoulders. I already showed the coat, although I didn't really show it that well, so I'll show it now. I mean, he's got a little Star Ladle logo on it. It's got these scratches, and they're not uniform. I think that's really cool. There's also this peg right here for you to take the sword, and you can just attach that on this little peg. And there you go. And you can attach it either way. I think technically the instructions show that you're supposed to attach it like that, but so you can just have it attached forever. But yeah, so in terms of detailing, there's really not a whole lot compared to, well, like there is, but it's all just stuff in the robot mode. But since he's a beast, he does have quite a bit of posability, so he does at the very least get a second, like articulation section. So calves can move, and that's effectively the knee, but there's also a knee joint there. The front legs get the knee, just like the back legs do. These claws get a good bit of posability too, and then I mean that's kind of it. Oh, his mouth can open and close, which is neat. And these pieces are on hinges, so you can mess with those however you want. But yeah, and his tail can move around. But I mean, that's kind of all there is to him. He's not a very good figure in my opinion. Well, the alt mode isn't very great. I like the robot mode, but I really don't care for beast formals of any kind unless they're dragons or Dinobots. This is neither, obviously. Alright, so that's been my look at Transformers Legacy United, Transformers Prime Universe Thundertron. I think overall it's a pretty solid figure, but for the Voyager class price point, its alt mode isn't the best, and its transformation is kind of lame, but I think that's how all Beast Formals are, so I can't say I'm very surprised by that. Although, I don't think everyone would agree with me on that. That's my sole reason for this being one of my only Beast Formals, and it will probably remain one of my only Beast Formals for a while. At least until I can collect the 86 Dinobots. But, so yeah. So that's been my look at this guy. And come back next week for one of the other 5, technically 6, figures I showed in the intro. That's my new way of doing stuff. I'm just going to roll a dice to figure out what figure I'm going to do every week. But every 7th figure will be something I will have pre-planned. That's really cool. First one's going to be really cool, at least. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see when I upload my next video. And yeah, see ya.